In 1911, the United States was still in the early days of aviation. Airplanes were fragile, unreliable, and viewed by many as dangerous novelties rather than practical machines. Crossing an entire continent by air seemed almost impossible. Enter Galbraith Perry Rodgers, a daring young pilot with a famous naval name. He was a distant relative of Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry. Rodgers had only recently learned to fly under the guidance of aviation pioneer Glenn Curtiss, but he was ambitious, bold, and eager to make history. At the time, newspaper publisher William Randolph Hearst offered a $50,000 prize to the first aviator who could fly across the United States in 30 days or less. The challenge captured the public's imagination. Rodgers decided to try. To fund the journey, he secured sponsorship from the Armour and Company meatpacking firm, which was promoting a new grape soda called Vin Fizz. In exchange, Rodgers agreed to name his airplane the Vin Fizz Flyer and paint the soda's branding on the aircraft. This made it one of the first sponsored aircraft in history, an early example of corporate advertising in aviation. The airplane itself was a Wright Model EX biplane, modified for long-distance flight. It had a wooden frame, fabric-covered wings, and a small engine that produced about 35 horsepower. The aircraft had no enclosed cockpit, no radio, and almost no instruments. Navigation relied on following railroad tracks and landmarks from the air. Rodgers began his journey on September 17, 1911, taking off from Sheepshead Bay, New York. A special support train followed him across the country, carrying spare parts, mechanics, and his family. This train became essential because the Vin Fizz Flyer would crash repeatedly. The flight quickly turned into a grueling test of endurance. Rodgers faced engine failures, bad weather, rough landings, and navigation problems. He crashed so many times that by the end of the journey, almost none of the original airplane remained. It had been rebuilt piece by piece along the way. Despite his determination, Rodgers could not meet Hearst's 30-day deadline. But he refused to quit. Town after town welcomed him as a hero as he continued westward, repairing the aircraft after nearly every major leg. Finally, on December 10, 1911, after nearly 84 days, Rodgers reached Pasadena, California, becoming the first person to fly across the United States. Although he didn't win the prize, his journey was a sensation. Crowds gathered everywhere he landed. Newspapers covered his progress daily. The flight proved that airplanes, despite their fragility, had the potential to connect vast distances. The Armour Company poster celebrating the Vin Fizz Flyer showed the transcontinental route stretching from New York to California, highlighting key stops along the way. It wasn't just a map. It was a marketing triumph, linking the excitement of flight with a commercial product. The image symbolized a new era where aviation, media, and advertising began to merge. Rodgers' aircraft, or what remained of it, was later preserved and is now displayed at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. It stands as a reminder of a time when flying across America meant facing constant danger with little more than courage, spare parts, and a dream. The Vin Fizz Flyer's journey showed the world that coast-to-coast air travel was possible, even if it took crashes, repairs, and extraordinary determination to get there.